All right, wanted to talk about the Cyberpunk TCG today. This is something I've actually been following for a few months now, and it was just recently put on Kickstarter, maybe like a week or two ago. I don't exactly remember when. I'm recording this on February 10th. I don't know when this will release, probably on February 16th, if I remember my content schedule for you. But we're talking about the Cyberpunk TCG today because I'm actually really excited for this product. But the recent update that they emailed out a day or two ago that we can also look at here on Kickstarter has me a little worried about the future of this TCG. And I completely understand the thought process of wanting to have the game to be as accessible as possible. But at the same time, I certainly don't think they should just turn on a printer and make the game absolutely undesirable and worthless. You have to thread the very thin line of having a collectible game, but at the same time making sure it's accessible enough for people to play it. And it's almost impossible to do nowadays when it comes to the TCG and CCG market. You either are going to have buyouts everywhere and your game is going to get scalped right up, or you are going to have absolutely no sales volume. Nobody's going to want the stuff because they feel like they're wasting their money. Yes, there's going to be the players that actually play it and the people that enjoy it, but there is going to be 90% of the people who would usually buy it. They're not even going to buy it because they just feel like they're lighting their money on fire. Now, myself, as somebody who is a Cyberpunk diehard, I absolutely love the game. It was so much fun. And, I even have it on the Switch and it runs terrible. It's one of those things where I'm definitely going to probably pick up some cards I think are cool, but I don't think I'm going to have anybody to play the game with. The odds that there's going to be somebody local that is going to, one of these game stores that is going to start Cyberpunk tournaments or just casual play, I really doubt it. So I am a full-time trading card business. I want to make that very clear before we dive into this. So I'm coming into it with the perspective of both the business and the casual who wants to collect it, and with the thought in mind that I probably won't get to play it with anybody. My significant other doesn't really play video games like that. Like, she'll play her Switch and like Animal Crossing, but she doesn't like play Cyberpunk. So it's one of those things where I just don't think I'm going to get to play this with anybody. So if you missed the first Kickstarter update, I am going to show you this article real quick, just in case you wanted to kind of glance at it. Go ahead and pause the screen here. This is something that I've already pretty much looked over. There's like a 30-minute video on their YouTube as well on how to actually play the game. So definitely check that out if you are interested. But let's hop to the main thing about this video today. So we're going to read through this entire article. So if you're not like physically watching, if you're listening, perfect. If you are watching, then go ahead and just skip ahead a little bit, pause it, read it, and then you can, or you can just listen along. I feel like that'd be easier, but up to you. Fighting TCG scarcity problems. Hey, Chooms. We love and appreciate all the incredible conversations you and the community have struck up since we revealed the Cyberpunk TCG in December. Thank you for your energy and support. We've also heard loud and clear what the biggest concerns are, so wanted to address one of those today. Product scarcity. If cards are hard to get, they become expensive on secondary markets, and many are left overpaying and underplaying. This is something we're actively working to avoid. Today, we want to talk plainly about it, and more importantly, how we're distributing Cyberpunk TCG to avoid those pitfalls from day one. So far, I already know exactly what I would do only reading this. Let's read the rest. Built for players. Cyberpunk TCG is being built with players in local game stores at its core, not artificial scarcity. Launching via Kickstarter lets us measure real player demand, print to meet it, and make sure every day one backer gets access to the game at a fair price. That means no lottery systems, no racing bots, and no player locked out. At the same time, we're committed to supporting local game stores with guaranteed allocation, guaranteed restocks, and a release schedule that prioritizes growing and and maintaining healthy communities. Stores that invest in building play spaces and events shouldn't be left guessing if they'll get their hands on the product. This is their livelihood, and they deserve supply security. Finally, we promise transparency. We'll be open with players and stores about the production, allocation, and organized play are handled because trust is how a TCG survives long term. That's partially true. If you want to dive deeper into our full approach and philosophy on tackling this problem, we've broken it all down in a dedicated blog post here, which I actually have not read yet. So we are going to take a look at that together because, like I said, I haven't actually read that yet. And then it says side gig, do a little survey, and then a little art reveal. So let's go ahead and dive into this blog post to get the full breakdown. But based on what I have read here, a lot of things make sense, and I know exactly what I would personally do to, solve some of these problems. But let's check out the blog post. All right, so this is actually largely the same, but it does seem like some of the wordage and verbiage is a little bit different. So we are going to start in the prioritizing players and protecting local game stores. The other two seem to be relatively the same, just on a very quick glance over them. So the Cyberpunk franchise has a lot of followers, and the TCG community has never been more active and interested in new games with such a large potential audience. Big keywords there. We chose to launch the TCG on Kickstarter to get an accurate picture of player demand and guarantee that all players who want cards will receive them. This is actually smart, and we will break this down. We've seen price gouging crop up often in the broader industry, stopping new players from picking up a game and preying on the established community. We refuse to let that happen in Cyberpunk TCG. Our goal is to make the game as accessible and long-lived as possible. Initial release through Kickstarter guarantees us financial and productional, I've never heard that word before, ability to get every day one player collector access to our product. So at least they said the C word. Let's hop into protecting local game stores. I'm assuming this is probably going to be relatively the same. Local game stores are the lifeblood of trading card games. They are where communities form, gather, and thrive. From retail distribution, our strategy is to partner with distributors in each region to responsibly allocate products. That is a huge if. I don't know if this company is aware that the first wave of product that is sent out to these distributors, I don't know how much power they have once it's in a distributor's hand, but a lot of distro right now, they are the ones jacking up the price. They are the ones increasing prices across the board for second and third and fourth waves of product. The first wave is typically at regular price, but additional waves, they're jacked up directly from the distributor. So that's all I have to say about that. With a single distribution partner per region, ordering products will be much easier, and we at WeirdCo will have an easier way to manage supply via tight integration with our partners. We'll see. As a part of this push, we'll guarantee allocation of verified Play stores that place their orders before our production kickoff deadline, to be revealed later. It's usually 3 to 6 months in advance. Plus, we'll set aside a certain amount of product to restock them. There's wave 2. Event stores put a lot of effort in sustaining a TCG community, and we want to reward the stores that build ours, not have them jump through hoops just to carry our game. I'm telling you right now, distros are a bigger problem than these guys realize. We also plan to start with a slower release schedule than industry leaders, giving us time to perfect production practices, implement robust organized play, and avoid wallet fatigue for your customers. We strongly believe in the value of playing games face-to-face with other people, fostering a healthy and welcoming organized play program that's crucially important for us. This is actually a problem. If the game, I haven't watched too much gameplay, and if you're super already like deep diving into this and looking at some of how the game is played, obviously I don't think we know all the cards and everything yet, but if there is only like one meta, if there is only like a few different decks and combinations that are possible, and I did watch the breakdown about 15 minutes into it on how the decks have to go with like the RAM and the colors and all this stuff. It was actually a little confusing if you ask me, a little over the top, but once I figure it out, it'll make more sense, obviously. But you have to understand that if there is only like one meta deck, if there's like two meta decks, the game gets super boring. Gundam just went through this problem with GDO1, their first set, having a very straightforward meta, and then Bandai released the second set, GDO2 Dual Impact for Gundam, and the second set was a setup set for the third set, which was going to take another 3 months to make. So Gundam had a period of about 9 months, I believe, where the meta was basically the same. And the players were burnt out. They were getting absolutely pissed. So if they do not already have some kind of system in place to shake up whatever the meta turns out to be, they need to release sets like every 6 months. Industry leaders do every 2 months or every 3 months. I believe Magic the Gathering is every 2 months. Pokemon is every 3 months. And that doesn't include specialty sets from Pokemon. If Cyberpunk TCG, Weird Co., if they are going to be serious about this and giving them a slower release, then we need to be looking at 4 to 6 months, because you're not just talking wallet fatigue. Meta fatigue is very real. And there's things that I feel like haven't been thought through. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the fact that they seem to think distribution is going to be their best friend. Distributors need to make money too. And of course they will make money, but they could make more. And I don't know what contracts could be in place, but they would have to have a very serious contract in place with whatever distribution companies they decide to use. And if they are going to go through like Southern Hobby and what's the other one? PhD, which is that Peach State? I can never remember. Peach State, GTS, and I think there's a few other ones, man. If they're gonna go through these guys, like, they're gonna bump the prices up on other waves. If you're gonna hold back product, unless you're shipping it direct, you're going to get distributions doing some nonsense. So let's hop back to the Kickstarter. Sorry about the flashbang. So when it comes to if cards are hard to get because they get expensive on secondary markets, leaving people overpaying and underplaying, I want you to understand there is a very easy way to combat this, and that is exactly what One Piece does, what Pokemon does, and that is in the form of flashier versions of the cards and having the same exact card with the same exact text in a common or uncommon or rare format. Assuming a rare comes in every pack, it's still not really going to be too big of an issue. But if per booster box of Cyberpunk TCG, there's 2 alternate art cards that have the exact same text of a smaller version or a less desirable version of the card, then players can play the game with the cheap cards and collectors can collect the expensive cards. And I'm going to be honest with you, I would really like to see illustration cards or full art cards or textured cards. I would love to see flashy high-end versions of cards in this TCG. Now, here's what I'll say. This doesn't necessarily need to come in the form of these alpha boxes. You don't need flashy stuff in alpha. You don't need flashy stuff in beta, or if they might not even do beta. They might just go right to unlimited or whatever they're going to call it or, market it as. But what I do want you to understand is that when they are doing this through Kickstarter here, the right thing to do is print to demand, because the majority of people doing the Kickstarter campaign, the majority of the people are just going to order an alpha kit and maybe like a booster box to crack. Assuming the alpha kit comes with everything you need to get rolling and playing right away, it 100% makes sense with how they are doing the Kickstarter rollout. But if this Kickstarter rollout, you want to make sure that if you are printing booster boxes, you really want to make sure that there is a Kickstarter logo on the box. That way, even if it is print to demand, and even if there is no limit on what you can purchase, long term, just having the Kickstarter logo on the box, like I said, even if you are a cajillionaire and you ordered 200,000 boxes for yourself, it doesn't matter what the supply is, having the Kickstarter logo will be good 5 to 10 years down the line. Also, one big thing is it is confirmed that Edge Runners is going to be getting a prequel or sequel. It's one of the two. It's not the same characters, but they are actually making a season 2 of Edge Runners that is confirmed. So depending on the release of this, you are going to see some demand from that. Cyberpunk in itself is an amazing game. It has an amazing, IP already. There's also, I think it was books from a very long time ago. The Cyberpunk has a lot of fans from a lot of different things, and I think the Kickstarter and doing it the way they're doing it is absolutely the right way. But once the Kickstarter's done, once we actually move into, hey, this is what we're doing. I really hope Weirdco does not decide to print the same amount of boxes that they print for Kickstarter. They need to understand that the hype will die down. I actually expect this Cyberpunk TCG to overperform when it comes to this Kickstarter. So let's say 1 million booster boxes sell. It's just a number. I think set 2 will only sell 100,000 boxes because you have so many speculative plays. You have so many people just wanting to hold Kickstarter TCGs. You have so many people that are going to want to play the game that aren't going to like it. You're going to have a lot of people that just want to crack some packs of Cyberpunk because they like the IP. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to come back for set 2, especially if set 2 does come out maybe around season 2 of Edge Runner, and maybe season 2 of Edge Runner is a flop. You never know. So that could produce a negative effect on the second set. There is a lot of things where I don't know how much is really in the base set here, but I'm assuming another set, set 2, set 3, could be about Phantom Liberty if they don't have anything about that in here. There's a whole bunch of different stuff they could really do with it. And don't get me wrong, like we saw in base set that the it's female V. I would only assume that in set 2 you're going to get male V. I would only assume in set 2 you're still going to get, new Pan Am cards. You know what I'm talking about? You're still going to get new cards of, Judy and all these other like Jackie as well. All the iconic characters are going to get additional cards in the future. A lot of the legends will get reprints with different abilities and different stuff. So you have to understand that this TCG could be really cool, but if they genuinely are going to go full game piece army after the Kickstarter, it's not going to last. It's just not going to be around. They're not going to... You have to understand, and this is where we'll wrap this up. We'll try and keep it under 20. You have to understand that you need people to buy the product. You need a significant portion of your initial community to want it. They can't just want it. Like, they have to want it. Like, they need it. You have to put a little bit of chase. Have some kind of collectability. And don't get me wrong. Putting this, Foil Nova Rare Lucy card, like, that's cool. You got to do more stuff like this. In set 2, put a box topper in there. Some full art foil that every single person gets. Every collector gets one, but it's only available in the booster box. Excuse me. You have to do something to appease the collectors. Because if you don't, you will not see the revenue. You just won't survive. I mean, you simply will run out of money. Even though they're backed by CD Projekt Red, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter unless they're fully paying for it. Which obviously they're not, because they're doing a Kickstarter to get the financial backing. When it says something like backed by CD Projekt Red, that is just like CD Projekt Red being like, we're supporting this. Like, yeah, we're allowing them to use the license and use the IP. That's probably all it is. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. I'm definitely going to be ordering an alpha kit, and we're going to see what some of the better packages are. This is going to be launching in March, and I'm definitely going to be potentially investing pretty heavily. And if they will potentially allow online distribution, I would love to be a part of it. But if they're trying to get, physical locations only, my physical location is certainly not even close to being able to hold events or anything. It's just a small little space to sell stuff out of. So it's going to be interesting to see what we got. But for now, That's my take on the Cyberpunk TCG going potentially Game Piece Army. Talk to you soon.